Hey everyone, it's Karen. I have 3 book tags that I need to get to and I have not done that. So what do? I make my own. This is the Autumnal Book Tag. It is original tag and it only has a 1 prompt, which is just to share 13 books that make you think of fall or Halloween or just that kind of autumnal feel. So I'm going to share my 13 picks just in alphabetical order by author, and the first one that I selected was The Rite by Matt Baglio, and this is the story of an actual priest who gets trained in how to do exorcism. He has to go to Rome to figure out to be trained and figure out how to do them, and then he shares his experience starting to perform them. And it's nonfiction. There was a movie based on it, and I just thought it was really interesting. Okay, the next book I haven't read as an adult. I read it as a kid, and I'm just more talking about this author in general as opposed to just this particular book. But it is The Mummy, the Will, and the Crypt by John Ballars. When I was in elementary school, we always had all these reading challenges that we would have to do, and this was on the list for one of our reading challenges from one of the books that we could choose. This is before Accelerated Reader, when we had a book list and we would get different rewards and stuff for reading books, and our teachers had to make all the quizzes themselves, and we would have a little conference with a parent to figure out if we read the book or not. But anyway, John Ballars is from Michigan originally, and I actually was in this house that he used as an example for his more famous book, The House with the Clock in Its Walls. But this is another really good like mystery kind of treasure hunt sort of book, and yeah, it's been a while since I read it as I said, but all his books are just amazing, and they're books that even though I'm no longer a child, I still really enjoy reading, and maybe one of these days I will read all of his books in chronological order just because I find them so engaging. The next book is Furious Hours by Casey Kett, and it is about Harper Lee and this other mystery that she kind of investigated. As you know, she helped with In Cold Blood and that mystery, and she also obviously wrote her own fictional stories, but she was involved in researching and kind of investigating real crimes as well, and this is a true story about that. The next one is a book that almost no one has heard of, and I loved it. I found it so cool. Like this whole treasure hunt sort of true crime sort of thing was definitely present in this book. It is The Dungeon Master, and it's by William Dear. This is a true story of a college student nearby where I live who was really into Dungeons and Dragons and decided to play for real in the tunnels under his university and then goes missing. The next book also took place in Michigan. I seem to have a lot of Michigan books. It's The Events of October, and it's a true story of a murder-suicide on a campus that is like kind of a small liberal arts campus, a small liberal arts school in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And it's a lot of, this is more serious, but just on the actual murder, but also about like dating in the United States and sexual crime in the United States and just stuff like that. The next is The Woman in Black by Susan Hill, just a creepy ghost story. The Haunting by Shirley Jackson, another creepy ghost story. Next is The Westing Game, which is a book for children, but I still adore it. It is just a story of all these people who live in this apartment building. And basically there's this guy, Samuel W. Westing, who has passed away, and this whole community gathers to hear the reading of his will, which turns out that there is a challenge, a contest, trying to figure out who his heir is and, oh no, just kidding, who is his murderer. It's been a while since I have read this book, and yeah, so all these people who live in this building are all super skeptical of each other and just questioning who do they trust and who do they not trust, and all trying to solve this mystery to figure out how he died. Next is Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. I've already done a full review of this, but it was a really awesome ghost story, and it just was kind of a retelling of Amityville, I would say. It was really similar to that, and the reason I like this so much is just because as a kid I loved ghost stories so much, and I haven't found many for adults, and this just reminded me of some of those childhood feelings of reading a good ghost story. Next is The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware, and this is a story of a nanny who finds herself in a very crazy situation. Again, it's a ghost story, and I loved it. Okay, the next book I've not heard very many people talk about at all. Again, it's a children's book, Peppermints in the Parlor, and my 4th grade teacher read this to us. He read it aloud every day and would always give us a peppermint to suck on while he was reading, which is obviously part of the title. So it has fond memories for me, but I have read it since then. I still really enjoy it. And this is the story of a girl who becomes an orphan and has to live with her aunt twice, and she remembers her aunt twice living a certain kind of lifestyle that would not be that bad to go and live, and things are completely different from what she remembers. She is in this very bad situation where she is really like neglected, and it's just kind of this orphan story where the orphans try and solve a mystery, escape their bad situation, and kind of figure out what is going on in this house that is not at all what she remembered. Next, another ghost story, The Fate of Mercy Albin. This is by Wendy Webb, by the way, but this is a book that I wanted to throw in the freezer, just like Joey from Friends. It was so scary, and such a good ghost story. And then finally, The Shadow of the Wind, which is not necessarily like scary, but is kind of a mystery involving books and just secrets and books. And yeah, the author, I think, recently passed away, but this book was absolutely incredible. So those are my 13 picks for books that remind me of autumn, or that kind of get me in the Halloween autumn sort of spirit. I'm curious what you guys' books are. All right, I'm going to tag Jason from Old Blues Chapter and Verse. I don't think he reads a ton of thrillers, but he has recommended some to me that I'm super excited about reading, and so I think he might have some good books to recommend. I'm also going to recommend Rhina from Rainier Books. He does read a lot of thrillers and mystery sort of books, so I'm excited to tag him as well. And I'm going to tag Angie from Science Mama because she reads a lot of spooky sort of books. She actually recommended the Riley Sager book to me, and I'm excited to see what she has to say. If I did not tag you and this sounds really interesting to you, totally do it, because consider yourself tagged. I want to hear what everyone has to say about this. I'm curious what you guys think, and I will talk to you later. Bye.